So we have to talk about to our customers about education. Okay. So firstly, we have to educate our customers about regular grooming and about products that we're using in our grooming salon that we need them to take home as well and use them on their dog. So when the dog comes back to us, we can make that perfect. All right. So one of the things that we always start off with is we don't groom dirty dogs. Okay. If the dog is so matted that when I say groom, I mean brushing out. Okay. So when we first want to start, we have to always have the dog in the best mind that we're not going to hurt the dog. That's an education again towards the customers. So we now have the dog on our table. It's only got a few mats in it. Okay. But it's still got some mats that need attention because we've got to remember the owners are not groomers. And they can only do it to a certain degree. But they have helped, we hope, with the right education. And that's for also grooming salons to maybe put on their own in-house little seminar with their owners. Let's help our owners brush their dogs. We don't want to take away from any business that these customers are giving you. So first we have to look at the right sort of shampoos. We don't want to work with dehydrated coats because we don't want to break the long hair. All right. So we're going to be looking at things like, first we have to look at shampooing, then we have to look at conditioning, then we have to look at our grooming out spray. Okay. So firstly, we'll talk about our shampoos. This is certainly, I short form it, and I call it the green shampoo, which is the natural conditioning shampoo. Okay. When I talk it to my students, I always say the green shampoo. Sometimes it's a little bit easier for them, but that is the natural conditioning shampoo. What that shampoo does, it's got hydration in it. It's a softening element. So it's going to help all our long, big drop coats, drape down. It's going to have some nice conditioning in it. It's not too stripping or anything like that. But please make sure that it is not a conditioner, although it says natural conditioning, it's not a conditioner. Okay. So depending on how our dog comes in, hopefully, as I said, we've educated them well and they're coming in quite regularly. You shouldn't have to use something that is quite what I would say harsh, like the deep cleansing shampoo. That only comes into play if they're a customer and their dog is filthy. It's a what we call a stripping agent. So it's going to strip all of the dirt out, all of the road condition. If our dog's constantly walked on the roads and all the dirt from the roads, or he's been running around in his backyard, he's got lots of dirt, that's going to strip all that out. But we need to make sure, or we need to be aware that that shampoo is also going to strip out all the oils in the dog. So it is not something, if this dog is coming in weekly, we do not want to use that as a weekly shampoo. So say on my show dogs or my competing dogs, I will definitely use that because I need to strip product out of them. And I will use that maybe once a month. That is fine. Okay. But just be aware it is a stripping shampoo and it will take everything out of the dog. That's okay because Plush Puppy products have products that you can put back into the dog. Okay. Meaning oils and natural oils and so forth. So we go from shampooing the dog. Then we want to, and I always say, make sure you use a shampoo twice. So the first shampoo is a really good shampoo. You're getting right into it. And then you want to re-shampoo the dog with the same shampoo. If all you're wanting to do is clean the dog. Okay. This is not if I want my dog whiter or I want my dog with bodybuilding in it. We're talking about drop coated dogs at the moment. Okay. So that is 2 using the same shampoos, but we need to shampoo twice. The second shampoo is really quick. If you've done a really good job of the first one, the second one will come really right. Then and these are all watered down products. So our ratio is 10:1 watered down. Okay. 10:1, meaning if you're using the shaker bottles, which are 500 mils, that is a very small portion in the bottom of that bottle. Okay. Generally, if you've also purchased the Plush Puppy pumps, it's a maximum of about 1.5 pumps in the bottom of that shaker bottle. Okay. So 10:1 is the ratio of nearly all of Plush Puppy products. So then we come to conditioning. We've got a nice clean dog. We've taken all the dirt, all the grime, all the oils out of the dog. I need to replace it back in. Now, depending on what kind of coat this dog is and how damaged it is whether I want to then do a Sea Breeze and a Coat Rescue protein pack. This is definitely an extra cost. This is like a care package. Okay, you know, how we would sell this in our grooming salons is we need to build the quality of the coat back up. It's damaged from the dog playing, another dog playing with it. It might be a male entire dog and it's weed on itself. It might be from the sun. You know, the wind damages coat. So Sea Breeze oil and Coat Rescue. Now, one of the questions was asked, is that when do we use Sea Breeze oil? When do we use Coat Rescue? Well, in Australia and myself as a groomer, and I'm very time poor, I like to mix everything together. So the things that I can mix together, I will always mix together. So Sea Breeze oil, it acts as a barrier on the dog. You need to use very, very little of it, but it also is very, very good as on the skin as well. Coat Rescue is like a protein that goes inside. So your shampoo opens your hair follicles, okay, and your conditioner closes your hair follicles. So in between those two, we're at the shampoo stage, we've got our follicles open. That is when I want to go in and put my protein in the hair follicle, okay? So this is when I take Sea Breeze oil in my hand or in a cup, and I add my Coat Rescue into it, and I mix them together because I like the additives of both of them. All right. I never generally separate one. Very, very rarely will I use one without the other. I just find they work really, really well together. And I will smear it all over the dog, or I'll put it into a bucket of water and I will tip it over the dog. Okay. Then if I've got the time, I'll let that sit. Sometimes I don't have the time, so I don't let it sit. I just let it run through. I might wipe it over the dog. If there's any excess in the bucket, I will wipe that out and wipe it over the dog. Okay. Then I will rinse that off the dog completely with quite warm water. Remember, Sea Breeze oil is an oil. So to take an oil out of the dog, we need to use quite warm water, not too hot that it's going to burn the dog. Okay. Then I will apply my conditioner. Now, conditioner is broken down again 10-1, and I will apply my conditioner through the dog. Not too much. You don't use as much conditioner as you do shampoo. Say on a Shih Tzu, I would use one whole shaker, the 500 ml shaker on washing. On conditioning, I'll use of the shaker about a quarter of the shaker. Everybody understands what I'm saying by the shakers? Yes, yep, good. I will use about quarter of the shaker in conditioner. Okay. Then I will rinse that completely off, and I will start my drying process. Okay. Now, another question that's been asked is, when do we use fast, or how do we use fast? I'm just looking down at my questions because there was another product with the fast that someone did ask. Just a minute and I'll find this question. Okay. Question, blow dry cream and fast, what is the difference? So blow dry cream and fast are nothing alike. Okay. Yes, they're both in the blow drying process, but blow drying cream flattens and softens coat. Okay. Fast makes a fast drying process. It plumps the hair and it adds good value to the quality and the depth of the color of the coat. I love fast and I use it on every single dog. So even if I've got, say, your Labrador or your Doberman, they're what I also use it on. but predominantly it's fantastic on your double-coated breeds, so your golden retrievers, your cocker spaniels, even your long-coated dogs like your Shih Tzus. Just be very careful with it when you're using it on, say, a Maltese that doesn't have, you don't want to use too much of it. Again, anything too much Plush puppy is never any good. You want to use a small amount of it, okay? So at this point, we've got the dog out of the bath. We've maybe dried him a little bit with a towel. Don't be too rough if it's a long-coated dog because you don't want to make any extra knots. And then what you want to do is get about quarter of the water off the dog. So you want to dry the dog to the point of not bone dry, but you've just moved the water off his body. Then you want to spray fast through the dog, trying to get it on as close to the root as possible. So as close to the skin as possible. So not on the long bits of the hair. Once you've done that, you can continue drying, and this will speed up your drying time. Fast has elements in it or extracts in it that speed up the drying time. It also has extracts in it that make the coat much plumper, so looking healthier and fuller. So what they're starting to do is we're starting to put the hydration back into the coat, okay? Then pretty much then you've got your coat is nice and dry. You'll transfer your dog to, we do transfer our dog to another table or the prominent grooming table. And what we will start and use then is I like to use OMG. Okay, there was a question between the difference of TLC and OMG. What is the difference and when do you use what? The difference between the two, they're both sort of grooming sprays. OMG is definitely your detangler and your grooming spray. Okay, TLC has an oil in it. So if you smell TLC, it smells awesome. And it is so easy to sell to the pet market because it smells lovely. It smells of coconuts and all of that. You've just got to be very, very careful with TLC because it has oil in it, where OMG doesn't leave any oil residue. So for instance, if you're going to a dog show or a grooming show, or if you're preparing a dog in a grooming salon ready for going home, you don't want to add too much oil at all. You don't want to make your coats too heavy. So when I use TLC, it is because I am, for instance, maybe I find it's a little bit more of a specialty product. I sell it to the public as also a grooming spray, but a conditioning spray. So it's got more conditioning in it than OMG has. So I sell it to the public, but I say to them, don't use too much because of the oil. Or I will sell it to a show person, say with a Maltese or a Shih Tzu, and you get lots and lots of static, okay, running around on the artificial carpet. Or if you're just grooming this dog and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of static going on. Everybody understands when I say static. You know, that you're getting that flyaway hair, okay? Because it's got the oil in it, what you can do is make up, I haven't got a spray bottle here, so make up OMG and put a cap full of TLC into your OMG, okay? That's enough oil within the OMG that it'll stop all that staticness or that flyaway or anything like that. A lot of people use it instead of, I don't like serum. I would never use a serum serum is an oil. I would never use a serum on a dog. It is too oil-based. It is too greasy. If you're going to, if you're sending a dog home and you've put serum over it, it looks great, fantastic at the time. But in 3 days' time, what's happening is that serum has gathered dust around it, is making the dog look really dirty, and your groom is not lasting very long. So you want to add as little oil as possible. Okay. I'll talk more about serums and what Plush Puppy used to replace a serum because we don't like the over oil based products. So where are we up to? I'm thinking about where we're up to. Right. So we're in the grooming room, and now we have come out of the dryer. I've made my decision that I'm going to use OMG. Okay. I just explained the difference between OMG and TLC. We can talk more on that in detail, if you like, at another stage, but I'll move on from that now. So I've decided to use OMG. So what does OMG give me to help this dog use on detangling first? So first thing I have to do is get rid of these little knots that I've still got in the dog, or any that I've created while I'm drying. So what OMG has in it, or the products that OMG has in it, is it hydrates the coat and elasticizes it. Okay, so we'll go back from that. What does hydration mean? I'm sure you all know what hydration means. And what does elasticize mean? Elasticize means that it puts essential stuff into the coat without oiling down the coat, to allow the coat to be flexible and move without breaking. Okay, so you think of an elastic band. An elastic band will stretch in and out like so. Okay, that's what we want our coat to do, because as we're untangling it, I need it to be untangled without breaking. So I need to elasticize this coat. I need to hydrate it. I need to give the oils back to it without using an oil. And I need to elasticize it. So then I can use my brushes or my combs, whatever I choose to use. So when I'm detangling, I will always use a slicker brush first. Okay, my favorite slicker brush is the Plush Puppy wooden ones. They are my favorite, but certainly if you're on selling a slicker brush to a customer, I would be selling them the blue range brush. As quality, you definitely want your wooden ones. So you'll know who your high-end customers are and who aren't. We sell both in our grooming salons to our customers. All my staff and myself, we use the wooden ones. I want that flexibility in the brush. So that's the difference between the two of the quality, is the rubber that sits under it. Okay. Also, the wooden base slicker brush, as well as the pin brushes, all their ends have been rounded. Like they're like twice the price or 3 times the price as the blue range, but there's a big difference between the two. The wooden one, pin brush and slicker brush, have rounded ends on the pins. Okay, so it's not as nasty on the skin. You're less likely to get brush burn or slicker burn or anything like that. If you go over and over and over and you attack that skin too hard, you'll get brush burn. So the great of those brushes is they've got rounded ends on the pins, so it's gentler on the dog. You'll get some really stubborn knots. I'll either use a dematter or I'll use a comb. Comb's generally my last thing, so I'll go, say, if it's a really bad knot, I'll use a dematter. Dematters will break the coat a little bit, so you will have to be very careful. Hopefully you've educated your customers enough that the knots aren't too bad. Then I'll go to my slicker brush. I'll slicker out as much as I can, and then I will eventually go to my comb. And again, with the good quality combs that Plush Puppy have put out, which is fantastic, they have the beautiful round ends on them as well, so it's gentle on the dog. You don't want to wet the hair with OMG. You want to just mist the hair with OMG. So when we're applying it to the dog, just make sure a mist. You've spent all that time drying it. Don't go and wet it down again. Okay. Now, the breakdown of OMG varies a lot. Now, they do have the ready-to-use one. I never, ever use that in a grooming salon. Okay. I sell that on my shelf to my customers, but I never use it. I use the concentrate, and I like to water it down myself. And I like to water it down a lot more, even a bit more than 20-1, maybe 10-1. I like to water it down. Again, it will depend on what dog you're using. The more concentrated it is, the heavier it's going to be, if that makes sense. So if you water it down 30-1, so if you use a lot of OMG, that's going to be heavier on the coat. So for instance, if you're doing a poodle and you're grooming through it and prepping it ready to scissor or ready to clip, you don't want your OMG heavy at all. So the lighter you have it, the better. So more watered down is what you want. If you're using a heavier coat, you're getting a little bit of static. That's when I say, okay, you can probably use 20:1 and pop in a very tiny amount of TLC. So you're asking for that oil to go into it, give it a good shake, and then spray it through the coat, okay? But remember, oil will add weight to the coat. So don't use that. You can, all of that is great for your Cocker Spaniels, your heavier coats. You want them down, your gun dogs, your Maltesers, you want a little tiny bit of oil in because they get very easily static. But your Shih Tzus, for instance, we want a bit of body in our Shih Tzus. I don't want it fly away, but I want a bit of body. So don't use too much oil in them because you don't want the weight. And definitely your poodles and your Bichons, you don't want any weight in their coat or any weight in their top knots whatsoever. So once we have then gone through, and I can now get a comb easily through the coats, which shouldn't be too hard. Pretty much I want to maybe just tip off the ends of the hair if the customer is requesting for that. It depends what the customer is requesting for at this point. So I hope that helps you with the process of going through and using for a long-coated dog. Now, when I say going through, there's lots of variances. So now what I'm going to go back and talk about the variances, okay? Just before I go ahead, do we have any questions that just involve that, or is there anything that anybody got confused on? Just so I can answer that question. Was there any, did we get any questions on that at all? I think you're muted. There we go. I have you.
Has any questions, they can unmute themselves and ask. There is one person, Anmol. Okay.
Hi, this is Amol.
Hello, Amol. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I heard about the OMG, TLC, and even the sea breeze oil. But my question is basically regarding the American Cocker Spaniels which I have. Do we have to use a different shampoo and conditioner for a different texture of the coat? Like I have scrub as well as black, both the colors.
Okay, so your question, I'll just confirm your question.
Yeah, basically, he has an American Cocker Spaniel.
Yes.
And he wants to know what's a good shampoo and a conditioner.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so that's a variance of shampoos and a variance of conditioners. So I professionally competed around the world with American Cockers, so very, very familiar with American Cockers. I'd say gun dogs and terriers is nearly what I would say I specialize in. So the first thing we want to do is in the bathing process, if we take the American Cocker Spaniel as a whole, okay, I've got the top coats that I want down. Okay, I want that as flat as I can get that. I want the sides of the body, they must still have a spring of rib. So I don't want that too flat down their coats. But then I've got the bells that I want out and up. Okay. So that is several different shampoos and several different conditioners. So I've got in the bells to make them full. I certainly want to be making sure I've stripped out all the oils. So I probably want to be using a deep cleanser in that to start off with. So this is probably from the kneecap or the turner stifle down on the dog. I would want to be stripping out all those oils to get any weight out of that dog because I want my bells to fling out. Okay. So I can scissor them nice and neatly and then I would be using a body building shampoo. okay, which is the Plush Puppy Bodybuilding Shampoo, again broken down 10-1. Now, we'll just put that aside because there's many other products that I can use to build those up as well. And I know for the other people that are listening, there was a lot of questions asked around volumizing cream and Puffy Dog, but I'll just come back to that in a minute. So the middle part of the dog and the top part of the dog, the middle part of the dog, I'm wanting to probably shampoo in a shampoo like All Purpose. I'm wanting to get an ultimate shine on that coat. All Purpose has henna in it. So I'm wanting to get the biggest impact of shine that I can on that coat. Okay. The top part I would use in the same, or the saddle and the top line of that dog, I'd probably use All Purpose, but then I would finish with a conditioner over the top, but I don't want that conditioner through the feet. Okay. So how do I get that conditioner off the dog is pretty quickly and very lightly and heavily watered down. Okay. So what I do, I wash the top portion of the dog first. Then I condition the top portion of the dog. Then I use on the bells section, I use the deep cleansing shampoo to strip the oils and the weight out of the dog. And then I shampoo with bodybuilding shampoo and no conditioner on the bells. Okay. Conditioner is weight. So we don't want weight on that component of the dog. Is this answering your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Not a problem. So it then will come to the drying components of the dog. Now, one of the questions, so this will answer somebody else's question that was asked. I'll just find the question to make sure I read out the question correctly. Does volumizing spray and Puffy Dog, does it have the same effect? Okay. So I'm going to use the American Cocker Spaniel as example. I believe in these two products, volumizing spray and Puffy Dog, I would think I would nearly own shares in this because I use so much of it, because I love, again, the combination of the two. They both do very different things, okay? The volumizing spray, like the bodybuilding shampoo, it turns one hair. Sorry, it turns one hair into 100 hairs. Okay. How it actually works is, you know, we have two magnets, two opposite magnets stick together. Okay. This is the same as the bodybuilding shampoo. When we shampoo our dog in the bodybuilding shampoo, as the same as the volumizing shampoo, when we get two magnets of the same, it pushes away from each other. Okay. So by using the bodybuilding shampoo, and then once we've half dried our dog, we spray in volumizing shampoo. We're talking around the bells. So if I was talking about a golden retriever and I wanted to give him that big chest, or if I was talking about a Shetland sheepdog and I wanted to give him a really big ruff, I would spray this into the dog at this point to make his hairs look more of. Or say someone came in and said, oh, my dog doesn't have, my Shih Tzu doesn't have very thick hair. Okay. I can spray this through the Shih Tzu's body and it would make his hair much fuller. All right. But what Puffy Dog now does, so now at this point, I'm wanting to add Puffy Dog in as well. I want to get Puffy Dog right into the roots. So I mousse it into my hands and I rub it into the ends of my fingers and get it into the roots. Okay. So of an American Cocker, I want to get right into the roots of those bells, or in the hocks where I want that nice flick up of hair in the hocks. I'm pushing this right into the roots. So if we're talking of a Sheltie, for instance, I want to get it right into the ruff and the roots of the ruff. But also you think of a poodle's top knot. One of the questions was, what products can I use in the top knot of my dog? This is where you can also allow your hair to stand up before the process. So all these are still workable products. When we say workable products, it means I can still get a brush through these products. I still have to scissor this area. I still have to work this area. These are not finishing products. Okay. Then I will start with my blow drying process. I personally, at this point, like to use a slow dryer. So when I say a slow dryer, either a dryer that sits on the wall commercially or a handheld dryer. Okay. So you'll take your bells that will be quite dropped. Okay. And you will just have these massive bells on the ends of your American Cocker Spaniel, or you'll have a ruff on a Sheltie or a top knot that is really starting to get some hardness in it. So the volumizing spray is going to turn one hair into 100 hairs, or the puffy dog is going to give me hardness in the coat. Okay. And it is going to make my coat stiffer. All right. So I need both of those products to give both of that effect. I want hardness and I want lots more hair. Okay. Your blow dryer and the heat in your blow dryer will bring that out for you. Okay. If you don't use a blow dryer, it'll look really stuck and sticky. So you really need to use that blow dryer to work for you. Okay. Now, on an American Cocker Spaniel, if you've got, and the same if you've got like your Golden Retrievers, if you've got ends that are flicking up, I call it gutter bum. So it looks like a gutter that goes around their bottom. It's often on a young coated dog, or if your hair's just not sitting down flat enough, this is where you can use your blow dry cream in a spray bottle. Okay. This again is all a 3/4 dried dog. Okay. I've got my ups in my bells or my ups in my ruffs, but now I need downs in certain parts of the body of the dog. Okay. So we've got American Cocker Spaniel, English Cocker Spaniel, Golden Retrievers, anything with that coat that needs to go down. Let's talk about collies, Shelties, all that hair, it comes over the rump and then it sticks up. Okay. It's just the growth of the dog or how we're hand stripping those bums out and all of that. You might have shoulders that are flicking up. So you're coming over the shoulder and then it flicks up like this. Okay. Blow dry cream solves this problem. Blow dry cream softens and straightens the hair as long as it's applied, as long as it's broken down and applied correctly. So what you want to do for that is you want to get a spray bottle. You want to get quite hot water in it. So not warm water. I'm now talking about hot water. Hot water breaks this product down. Okay. If you use cold water, it'll just sit in there and it won't break down. If you have the ability, get a little mixer and mix this up, then pour it into the spray bottle. Okay. You need to first make sure you break the product down properly. Okay. So I use in a 500 ml, not a 500 ml, 50 ml spray bottle, or the smallest spray bottle Plush probably has. I can't remember the size of it now. 100 ml, I think it is, spray bottle. You want to use about a level teaspoon. Okay. You can't, blow dry cream doesn't leave residue in the coat. So you can't overuse it, but you don't want to overuse your product because you're only wasting it. So I say about a level teaspoon, pop that into hot water, mix it around with a mixer or a fork or something, or put it into the spray bottle and give the spray bottle a really good shake. Okay. Then you can apply it to the areas only that you want down. Okay. So remember our bells and our neck, that's what we want up. So we're not going to apply it to those areas. Okay. I'm going to apply it to the top line, the back. You might have a dip in your back. Don't apply it to there because we want that dip up because we want a nice level top line. Okay. So we've got rumps coming over. So let's think we've got a young male Shih Tzu and his hair's going everywhere. Okay. So I want some control on this coat. I want some down on it. You might have an adult female Shih Tzu, for instance, and her coat might be really flat. So I want volumizer in a really flat coat. I want blow dry cream in a young, at a 1 year, 2-year-old Shih Tzu, okay, that his coat's just going everywhere, hasn't got enough weight in it because it's young. I want to spray this through the coat. Then I want to start and blow dry. Now, if I'm putting a down in the coat, we've established that blow dry cream is a down. We've established that volumizer and puffy dog are an up, okay? I want to blow dry it in the direction that I want it to go. So if I want up, I'm going to blow dry up. If I want down, I'm going to blow dry down. Okay. So that's starting to come to the end of nearly our process of what we are trying to do. The first things we often have to do is, one, to help ourselves groom these dogs. We want to strip out coats. So the backs of American Cockers, the backs of Golden Retrievers or gun dogs, you want to strip that out. I like to strip it out in the bath using something like a Mars Coat King brush, a stripping brush, okay? And what I like to do so I don't damage the coat is I like to do it at the conditioning stage. So I put conditioner in my dog's body, okay, the Silk Protein Conditioner. Depending on how damaged your coat is whether you want to strengthen that up. So I say the breakdown is 10-1. I might, at this stage on this dog, I might nearly use it concentrate, only a very little bit. So just a blob in the hand, a 50-cent piece. That's Australian 50-cent piece. But, you know, a coin size in your hand, and then rub it on my hand, rub it through just those areas. And then I'll take a stripping brush and I'll run down the dog's body. Okay, you will get so much double coat out, and that's what's making the hair stick up. All right. Naturally, if you want the hair up, don't run a stripping tool through it. Okay. So let's take a Sheltie, for instance, or a Collie, and I want them to have a full ruff, but I want them to have a nice flat looking body. I'm only going to take my stripping tool or my shedding tool through that body. Okay. So that's how we can make our life easier at the end to make it work. How's everybody going? How's everybody following that? Do we have any questions? If you want to just pop it into the chat box. I see there's quite a few questions in the chat box, which is fantastic. Does anybody have any questions on that and that makeup of using those products? Or has anybody else tried to look at those products? Yes, we have a question. You just have to unmute yourself.
Sanjeev, please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Sudhir?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Sudhir, go ahead with your question, please.
Yeah, Sudhir here. I have Shih Tzu bit, and I wanted to know how to take care of his coat in monsoon season.
In what was that last bit? Sorry,
monsoon.
I didn't.
Monsoon.
Rainy season.
Oh, okay, rain. Yeah. So rain is the same as sun. It's dehydrating on the coat. Okay. I would be wrapping. Okay, and I would be wrapping in a diluted down sea breeze oil. Okay, so if you're wrapping your coats, you need to have the correct plastic. Some people use baking paper. If you don't want to purchase the correct Shih Tzu paper or the wrapping, same as wrapping poodles, you need to use a watered down, not concentrated sea breeze oil. Concentrated sea breeze oil is very, very powerful and is too powerful for the coat. So you need to water it down. The great beauty of any Plush puppy product is it is very concentrated and you need to use very, very little of it. If it's not working, mostly is because you're using too much of it. Okay. So the first thing you want to make sure you do when you're not, is your Shih Tzu a pet Shih Tzu or is it a show Shih Tzu?
Sudhir.
Sorry, it's a.
Hello.
Sorry, just.
Hello.
Sorry, could you just repeat that again?
Is it a show Shih Tzu or a normal home Shih Tzu?
Sudhir,
Yes, yes. Acha, hello.
is it
For
we can hear you? Is it a show Shih Tzu or it's your pet Shih Tzu?
No, both also both. Because for pet also I have and show also I have.
So he has both. He's saying he has both. He has a show dog as well, and one he keeps it at home.
Okay, not a problem, not a problem. Definitely the show Shih Tzu, why he's not in shows, regardless. If he runs around and his coat is hitting the ground, or a male and it's weeing on it and stuff like that, he's going to damage his coat. So you're going to need to protect that coat and wrap that coat up. You can't wrap a coat up without putting something on it. You want to make sure that you don't burn the coat with the product. So it's very important that you dilute the product down. Okay. Now I would use sea breeze oil and I would dilute that product right down, spray it in. So put maybe about a teaspoon into 100 mils of water in the spray bottles and spray that in your wrap and then wrap that up. And then and that's how you keep it off. You've got to keep it off the ground. Okay. Now wraps should be taken out about every sort of 4 days, brushed through, so you don't get matting. Okay. If you get matting, obviously you need to go through a process. Now, if you're about to go and show your dog, you need to make sure that you wash this oil out. Okay. Now, remember I said that your oil, any oil in any product is weight. Okay. Now, if your Shih Tzu has a flyaway coat, you want the weight in there. If you don't want the weight in there, so you want that body in your dog's coat, okay, which I like a little bit of body in my dog's coat, then what you want to do, you want to make sure that you wash that out with quite hot water, or you could use the deep cleansing, but don't use it every week. Okay, if you're showing your dog every week, don't use the deep cleansing every week. It's too of a hard stripper. As long as you use warm water and you use the natural all-purpose shampoo, then you will get rid of that oil naturally. Okay. Every now and then, though, you will need to use a deep cleanser to make sure you strip all those hair follicles of the product, of the grime, of the grease, and all of that goes around, and that. Fantastic. Does that help? So the one at home, if you don't particularly want to wrap that, then I would spray the sea breeze oil onto the dog. So the same spray bottle that you're using for your show dog, you can spray that. So just lift up the coat. So you've got to always start off with a clean dog, okay? And then lift up that coat and spray it through. What's going to happen is the sea breeze oil broken down in the water will coat around the hair follicle and protect that hair follicle, okay, through that monsoon. So in Australia, we class, just so I can clarify, we class a monsoon season as it is hot and humid, but wet, okay? So it's not a nice environment for coats. More importantly, it's not a very nice environment for skin. Okay, it's the skin that sweats and then you get hot spots and the dogs scratch. All right. So keeping the dog wrapped, it's the same with the American Cocker, same with any type of length of coat. If you've got an Afghan, if you've got a poodle, any length of coat, wrap it. That's how you get your greatest protection. Okay, so definitely wrapping your ears of your Shih Tzus, any Maltese, all that needs to be wrapped. That's how you protect the best of it. But it must be placed into something first or sprayed down with something first, and that is the sea breeze oil. Okay, if you want to go milder than that, we can talk of the other protectives. Okay, so TLC, as I said before, it has an oil in it. You can use that. You don't have to break that down if you don't want to. If you're using it as a wrapping agent, you don't have to break that down. Of my preferences, I would use the sea breeze oil. Okay. If you're, we talk of Reviver Coat. Okay. Reviver Coat is my favorite thing for a lot of reasons. Now, I know there's a lot of groomers on here, and I sell Reviver Coat to my customers. Okay. I use Reviver Coat when I'm at a show to put hydration back into coat. It's a very mild hydration. Okay. So if I just want to give some bounce back into my coat, some body back into my coat because I've lost it, then I will use Reviver Coat. You need about a golf ball size of Reviver Coat in your hand, rub it in, and then just rub it naturally through the coat like that. Or you can place that golf ball upside down into a spray bottle, spray into the bottle of water, and then shake the bottle up and spray that through the dog. That's not heavy enough, though, for wrapping. Okay. If you're going to wrap, my suggestion would be sea breeze oil. If you just want to maintain pet coat, so these are not show dogs, you can use a number of products. Again, TLC, either broken down. You can use Reviver Coat, neat or broken down. It's entirely up to you. Or you can use the same sea breeze oil, definitely broken down, sprayed directly onto the coats. Okay. Remember, anything, if your dog's looking too oily, if you've gone, oh, wow, that looks oily, that's too oily for the customer, water it down even more. Okay. Does that answer your question for the Shih Tzus? As I said, same for the American Cocker. I would be wrapping, especially if it's a male American Cocker, even an English Cocker, just because they seem to wee on their coat. Any wee will damage coat. Okay, so you need to wrap around those areas, sort of all through the mid-loin area. That needs to be wrapped to protect it from the elements of the weather. You need to protect it from the urine. That's very, very concentrated, and that will break coat very quickly. But also staining. You need to wrap and protect from staining. Now, that's staining even if from grass or from dirt, staining from dirt as well. Most importantly, staining from urine is terrible. Bitches around their rear end need to be wrapped. And again, that oil will protect it. Okay. If you don't want to wrap, the oil is still going to protect it, but not as well as the wrapping. How does that sit with everybody? Fantastic.
Nikki, I have another hands up by Sanjeev Kumar. Sanjeev, can you unmute yourself and ask the question, please?
Hello.
Hello, Sanjeev. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. My question is that I have lots of Shih Tzus, and I'm sure the Shih Tzu, I have show dogs also. And my problem is that my dog is having so many tears in eyes, and that's why their face is mustaches is brown. So how can I maintain and white them?
Okay, yes. Plush Puppy do have a number of products. Again, we have to go back to why are we getting staining. Staining is generally an element of your pH level in your dog is out of whack. Some dogs don't have a choice. Some dogs is worse than others. 9 times out of 10, pH level is caused by too much redness in their diet. I would maybe look at putting them on a fish diet. So fish is white rather than a beef-based diet. It can make what it does is it makes their skin a lot hotter if the protein is a lot higher in the diet. So just have a look at the dog's diet first, because it's okay, we can have all these products to get rid of the staining, but if the staining is going to keep coming, we need to get rid of the problem first. Okay. So it's different if it's a problem from, say, its beard and it's running along the ground and it's got its head down and it's getting all dirty. I can get rid of that by a product. But a staining comes from the eye that comes out of the eye. Okay. It's the same as if you get saliva just here or staining from the saliva. That is, again, the pH level in the dog and what's that doing. So you can get rocks and I'm sure you'd be able to get, because I've seen them worldwide, you can get rocks that you put in drinking water, and that changes the pH level of your dog, and stuff. So when we've got that under control and we know what's causing that, what we then want to go and do is, okay, now I've got the staining under control, I need to get rid of the existing staining on the dog. Okay. Now, Plush Puppy have a fantastic product. It's quite a new product, and I can remember launching it when we were in the UK in Crufts. And it's a soap bar. Okay. It's called Wonder Soap, and Plush Puppy named things like OMG was named because of, yes, that's it. Yes, yes. Yep, thank you for holding that up. OMG is named because it's, oh my God, it's fantastic. Or the Wonder Bar was named the Wonder Bar because it's just magic, okay? Now, many, many moons ago, I used to go to the supermarket and I used to buy a bar that used to have bleach in it that we used to rub on our white shirts to get stains out and stuff like that. What I didn't realize what I was doing is I was getting rid of my whites, but I was bleaching my whites. Now, the last thing we want to do is bleach. Bleach is a very, very quick fix, but a long-term bad goal, because what it's doing is it's stripping everything out of your hair. It's making the hair be very, very weak and causing another problem. And the problem is probably going to be breakage. Okay. And in Shih Tzus, that's not what we want. Okay. So this bar was designed around being very natural. So it's a very, the agents that are in the bar are very natural on the dog and so forth. So that we want to use the bar. Now, what you can do, you don't have to wash the whole dog to be able to use the bar. Now, commonly what I would do is I would use a spray bottle and just wet that area down. Then I would scrub the bar on the dog, and then send him outside, do what he's got to do. I might come back, let him come back in, and then I will spray the water on it again to get rid of the bar. But it needs to sit in the dog for about 10 minutes or something like that. So before you're going to wash the dog, if you are washing him for a show, water it down with the spray bottle, rub the bar on it, okay? Then send him outside, let him do what he's got to do, get yourself ready, get your bath ready, then bring him in and start your process. You'll also be using the herbal whitening shampoo, okay? The herbal whitening shampoo should always be broken down 10-1. The stronger you have it doesn't mean the whiter the dog, okay? So always break that down. If you've got dehydrated coat, or it's what we call porous coat, you want to be very careful, because the purple can go into the coat and make your dog purple. So always make sure you break your purple shampoo down, or your herbal whitening shampoo down. Herbal whitening shampoo acts on activation. So just pouring it on the dog and giving it a little bit of a rub is going to do nothing. You need to rub and really rub that purple, or that whitening shampoo. Okay. Now, if you've got a Shih Tzu and he's got white components on his body, and you want more body in your hair, then what I would be doing is first washing in a bodybuilding shampoo, okay, over the whole dog. Then I would be washing in herbal whitening over the whole dog. Okay. That's going to give me body. And then that is going to give me my whites to be brighter. Now, if you've got the sable color, or the tan color, or the black color over your Shih Tzu as well, okay, and this goes the same for, say, a black American Cocker. I use the herbal, I've got Shelties, and if I've got a sable dog or a black dog, definitely black, try Sheltie, I will use the purple shampoo over their blacks as well. So what the herbal whitening shampoo has in it is like a toner, and it not only whitens whites, but it'll take anything brassy out of the hair. So if you've got a dog that comes in, it's a bit sun bleached, or it's got urine stains on it, it's got brassy stains on it, or your American Cocker might be going through a coat change, or your Shih Tzu, it might be going through a coat change, nothing to do with weather or anything like that, and it's just got some brassiness around its blacks or around its tans, okay? wash it in the purple shampoo. Okay, you will tone those brassinesses out. If it's still in there, I would then go over it with the black opal shampoo. If you've got white on your dog, be very, very careful. Remember, it is a pigment dye. Okay, it's not a dye, it's only a pigment dye. So it will come out. You need to wear gloves, but don't get it on your whites. Okay, quite often if I'm using it on a Shih Tzu or a dog that is multicolored, black opal shampoo, I will whiten my whites up with the herbal whitening, and I will get them really super foamy and super bubbly. And then I will get my blacks and I will just rub the black opal into the black areas as well. And that if you accidentally get it on your whites, it's easy to rinse out, and it won't go into the pigment because there's too many bubbles in the white hair and that. But first, I like the purple shampoo on black coats first. See if that works. If it doesn't work, then go to your black opal. Okay. Now, black opal is a build-up shampoo. It's not necessarily going to work from one shampoo. It's not necessarily going to work from two shampoos. I find 3 to 4. So build up that pigment build on the black opal. Okay. So you might use the black opal once or twice and go, I didn't really do very much. By the time you get to your 4th and your 5th build up, you'll see, okay, now I can see some really good quality black color coming. Okay. Does that help? Does that answer that question for you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Fantastic.
Nicky, I have one question. You were talking about the rock in the water to maintain the pH level. What is that rock called? What kind of rock is it?
I think it's called, I'm just on my other computer and I'm just going to quickly Google it. It's like, I think it's called Hard Rock. I'm just Googling it. No, Hard Rock Cafe. It's coming up. Hard Rock. I will try and find it for you. It just came up.
Would the apple
mineral rocks for water?
Mineral rocks for water.
Yep. Okay. Here it is. It's called Dog Rocks. Dog Rocks. Yep. And it does things like sick of those yellow patches appearing on your lawn. So it changes the like the urine concentrate. It helps through here as well, and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah, but dog rocks.
Would apple cider Would apple cider vinegar added to the diet help in?
Did you say vinegar?
Apple cider vinegar.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. It's not real tasty though, so for the dogs. So it's something you've got to, don't go just popping a heap in. You need about a tablespoon. I often have put it into their diet, so into their dry food, but I put yogurt and all those sort of things as well into a dry food. I don't feed fresh at all. I only feed dry. Yeah, you can definitely put apple cider vinegar, but just start off on a really small amount, like super small amount, and then build that up.
Okay.
We have another question from Mr. Girish Bajaj. Girish, can you unmute yourself and ask, please?
Yeah, hi. I actually have 2 questions I wanted to ask.
Yes, fantastic.
One would be, like, what would be the best products to be used on a husky on a regular basis and also while prepping her or him for a show? And
okay.
My other question is, how important is a diet for the health of the coat or for the dog in general for the betterment of the coat?
Okay, we'll start at your second question because I think that is a very, very, very smart question. And it's where I would start with anything. We can do as much as we want, okay, to make our coats perfect. We can use the best products in the world, okay? But the coat comes from inside out. And if we don't get that right, then we're never, ever going to get our coat perfect. So if we are feeding our dogs a poor diet, not the correct minerals and so forth like that, then we're always going to be fighting an uphill battle to make our coats perfect for that perfect show dog. Okay. So you have to decide. I'm always striving for a bigger coat. All my dogs I've imported from America. So I'm lucky that my dogs are well bred with big coats, but I'm still always striving for that big coat. I've been a professional handler of Siberian Huskies as well. I haven't owned any person myself, but I've certainly professionally groomed and shown Siberian Huskies and mostly American-based Siberians. So I'm always striving again for that big, massive coat. And their coat, like my breed's coat, which is Shelties, asks for the coat to be profuse. Okay. So yes, 100% start with your diet. Start with something that is going to, I feed a dry food, a premium, a super premium dry food. But I like to put some additives in myself just to boost them. I love yogurt, and I think yogurt for the gentleman with the Shih Tzu is always really good as well. Yogurt has a lot of natural antibodies in them. So yogurt is really good for gut and inside things as well. Just a natural yogurt and like a really big scoop of it too. And the dogs will love it. So you can put anything in it. So that's when you put your apple cider vinegar in and stuff like that, and they can't taste it. When we're talking about Siberian Huskies, and that profuse coat is really, really important. I'm wanting to get a really good mineral and vitamins in there. Biotin, something with biotin in it. You can get biotin tablets, I think it's TON. You can buy them just direct. I know we can here in Australia. They're often in a tablet form. You might want to, if you don't give your dogs tablets, I crush them up and put it into their dry food, and it, just like a powder. And so forth. A lot of dog products, if you look down them, they physically have biotin in them. That's for coat growth. In a human, it's for nail growth and hair growth. Okay, so we use it in dogs, but you can go to a health food shop and physically buy biotin. Okay, by itself. Now I would go and do that and buy that. So that's what I would be starting with. Once you've got that under control, that's fantastic. Then you can start your grooming products. Preparing a Siberian Husky for a show is, have you got another hour left? There's a million products. And as you probably know, Plush Puppy was established in Australia, and John and Cheryl LaCourte built Plush Puppy, or Cheryl, the late Cheryl LaCourte, and they had Siberian Huskies. I handled their Siberian Huskies for them. And of course, a lot of their products were developed around Siberian Huskies. So again, there's a million products, and I've got to ask you a million questions like, if you've got more than one dog, I can imagine I'll have more than one answer. Okay. So again, if we go back to what do I want to do with the coat, you might have a dog. I had this dog, but he was an American Siberian Husky, and he was he was a little short in neck. So he was a little straight in upper arm, which gave him that slightly short neck. I want on a Siberian Husky a profuse neck and that beautiful crest coming up over here. But the problem is with him, because he was a little short in neck, I couldn't make him too profuse because then I made him look really stuffy around here. So I used a bodybuilding shampoo, I used the volumizing spray, and I used the Puffy Dog all through the crest of his neck. Okay. And that gave me all that up. But I didn't use it through the front of his neck because he was short in neck and stuffy in neck. So I wanted that pushed down a little bit to give him that length of neck, to give him that better lay of shoulder. Okay. I wanted my top line nice and level. So I used my blow dry cream through there, exactly the same how I described it, through the, the top lines of your Shelties and your gun dogs or anything like that, that you're getting that flick up of coat. You know how you go down the top line of the Siberian Husky, right at the end of the tail, you get that bit that flicks up. Okay. And some flick up, and what happens is it makes the dog look shorter than it is. Okay. Now, these are not designed to be a short dog. They're a 9 to 10 dog. So they're supposed to be of reasonable length. And that flick up can make the dog appear shorter than he is. So you want that nice level top line, or you might just have, just a bit of crazy hair going on. He might be going through a coat change. So the blow dry cream diluted down is perfect for that top line. But all around his pants, his side of his body, you want all that profuse. All that is all got basically bodybuilding shampoo in 3/4 dried. Then I'm going to be spraying volumizing coat right through that. And then I'm even on certain areas, so pants, chest, I'm putting Puffy Dog in because they're the bits that I want to stand out and accelerate. Okay. So it doesn't only make the coat. So let's talk about Puffy Dog in the chest of a dog. So we can talk about the chest of any breed, okay? We want 90-degree angle or a good angulation on most of our dogs. Not so much I'm talking about terriers, but on most of our dogs, we want really, really good angulation on them. Use a product to build that coat out, okay? I'll tell you now, most judges don't know not what a 90-degree angle is. Most know that, but they can be not fooled, but misled by the appearance of the dog. So if we get that chest hair up right on the prosternum, okay, so say on a American Cocker or an English Cocker or a Sheltie, Golden Retriever, any of these type of dogs, even a Shih Tzu, it's a bit harder to do it on a Siberian Husky because of the length of the coat, but I will back comb right above their prosternum to give them that full look just here on their prosternum, to give them that real chesty look. Okay, but I'll also build it up with product as well. So when they're running or when they're on the gate, they still look like they have that big prosternum look. If you want your pants full, I always want a nice, really thick depth of thigh, especially on my Siberian Husky or these slightly Siberian Huskies, I would call, in a mid-range. They're not a short coat. They're not a long coat. They're in a mid-range. So you want to you can disguise if your American Cocker or your Shih Tzu doesn't have that depth of second thigh. So we're coming down from the ischium down into the turner stifle. Then we want a nice depth there because you've only got coat to cover that. So you need to build all that up to make it look really thick and full. And basically by doing the Puffy Dog, if you haven't used that, get onto that. It's a magic product. Make sure you get it on the roots, okay? You don't want it on the ends. That'll harden your coat up and stiffen it up. Now, Siberian Huskies are supposed to have a nice coarse coat and a nice hard coat. So again, that is a perfect product for them. Start with your volumizing spray through the dog, and then get the foam onto your roots. Okay. Have you actually used Puffy Dog on your dogs?
No, ma'am. I haven't used Puffy Dog yet. I've just used the volumizing spray, but not the Puffy.
Have you used the bodybuilding shampoo?
Yes, I do use the bodybuilding
Fantastic.
shampoo, but
Fantastic.
I'm a little confused about the conditioner. A lot of people told me not to use the conditioner. I've
No,
used it
no,
once. The
no.
coat completely went flat.
Yes. Look, excuse me, conditioner is a fabulous product. I'm just going to have a drink. Excuse me for a minute. Conditioner is a fantastic product, and you're putting all the products you're putting into your dog are all hardeners. Okay, this goes for the American Cocker person as well. In the bells section, all those products are called hardeners. They're ups. When it goes up, it's a hardener. Okay, any hardener needs to be washed out of the dog and then needs to be conditioned afterwards. So you go to a dog show on your Friday, you prepare for your dog, everything gets put in, you want coat up, everything goes up, okay? Definitely no conditioner in an up area, okay? So you know how I was saying to you, the Siberian Husky that I was showing, he had a short neck, okay? I might put a little bit of conditioner here because I don't want his neck. I don't want his neck full, or just in this front bit. I don't want it full because I needed to give him more length of neck. So the more you puff that neck out, the shorter the neck's going to come. Okay. So don't get me wrong. I was still making it full on the sides, but on this very front bit just here, I was trying to flatten that down. So I put a little bit of conditioner there because I wanted that flattened down. Okay. Or I might have used the blow dry cream there because I wanted to flatten it down. So everything that goes up. So then you go to the show, trust me, there's a million more products you can use. The powders. Oh, I love the powders for anything that goes up. So that's all. This is all before you get to the show. Okay. There's still a million products you can use. And again, I'm being conscious of time now and that, but there's a million products you can use after you prepare that can still get your dog's coat up. But you get to the Monday and you need to wash all these products out of your dog. That is when you put conditioner and sea breeze oil into your Siberian Husky's coat to protect it from the monsoon weather. Okay, whether it's the heat, whether it's the rain, whether it's the humidity, but you must protect that hair and hair follicles. If we're talking to anybody on here with show dogs, okay, you must protect that hair during midweek. Okay, sea breeze oil and coat rescue is your key products for protecting coat. So first we will wash all the products out. You can just use an easy shampoo like the green one, which is the natural conditioning shampoo. It's softening, it's gentle. Then pack a heap of conditioner in it, rinse it out. In between those two, I would be putting your sea breeze oil on and your coat rescue. Condition your coat, rinse that out. Wednesday, spray some more sea breeze oil through the coat, watered down sea breeze oil through the coat. Then comes to show day or preparing for the show, comes to the Friday or the Thursday, whenever you're getting ready, rinse that all out, start all your hardeners and your ups again. Unfortunately, Siberian Huskies, all these big grooming dogs, you've got to have one of everything. I hate to say it, but you need one of everything, just about, because there's ups, there's downs, there's arounds. Now, hang on, I'm not showing. I want to soften my coats. I want to be everything gentle with it. Just remember, when you're not showing your dog midweek, you want everything soft on your dog. Does that help answer those two questions?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Thank you so much.
Good. Hopefully one day I can demonstrate it to you. But it's very simple, and I know it might seem a little confusing and that. So.
Any other questions?
Actually, we have 4 more questions, but I'm worried we have very little time. Like we have just 5 minutes to wrap it up.
Yeah, maybe if we saved those questions and anything that I haven't covered. So what I tried to do, obviously I was sent through a lot of questions and we had a lot of multiple questions, and I tried to join questions together, join breeds together, so we could cover 5 questions with one answer, if that makes sense. Now, for the people that have asked a question that you go, I just don't feel my question's been answered, okay? Or what I want you to do is rewrite that question in and just say, I did ask this question, but it wasn't covered. I've got, sheets of questions here, and I've tried to do my best with answering questions, but there's 900 breeds out there, and there's a different answer and there's a different product nearly for every breed. But I don't want to ignore your question, or I haven't answered it because there's not an answer. There's an answer to every question, but just rewrite your question in. I think, is that the best thing to do? And then we'll answer that question next week. And make sure you tell me your breed, your problem, what you might have been doing. So you're welcome to give me a bit of a story on it. That's not a problem. And then we can answer those and that. And also, there'll be time that we might be able to ask a small handful of people more questions. But maybe, do you think if we save those 3 questions till next time, is that best to?
Yes, Anmol, Swapna, and Saibal. All your questions, we can answer it in the next session, which will be happening on the 19th. Okay?
That's okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, fantastic. So make sure you write those questions down. Don't hesitate to write it down in a little bit of detail. But also, if it's too hard to explain in writing, which sometimes it is, Emil, just make sure when, we'll get to your question first thing and be able to answer those questions for you. And that. What breed do you have, Emil?
Sorry, we didn't get you.
Sorry, what breed does Emil have? What breed of dog?
Hey, I have American Cocker Spaniels as well as Siberian Husky.
Fantastic, awesome, fantastic. Does that how are we going on that?
Yeah, I think hi everyone. We are drawing close to the end of an engrossing session on coat care masterclass with Nicky. And I'm sure she's added a lot of value in terms of educating as well as telling you about the techniques of the products to be used. And whatever she has gained over the past 35 years, she shared a lot with you all. Of course, time is a constraint. And we at Plush Puppy India, we are endeavoring to bring the best they can give, whatever they have learned over the years, and most of the groomers can get experience from that. And Nicky also has her social media channels where she puts in a lot of grooming tips and also educates groomers. So we will be putting in the link in the chat box, and you all can follow Nicky on that. Also, for the product list, we have our website, www.plushpuppyindia.in. So you all can go and check out the products over there. And see you all at the next session, next Tuesday, 19th, for more insights into grooming. And a lot of the questions which have not been answered will be taken up. So please do join in at the same time, 10:45 to 12:15 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nicky.
Thank you. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are some, Nicky, there are some thank yous for you in the chat box.
Yes.
You want to have a look.
Thank you. Trying to get my mouse. Thank you. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, then. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. End meeting.